chairperson of Pax Christi Metro DC Baltimore is joining us for the presentations, and of course we have our honorees up here. The way we're going to proceed is I'm going to say a few words about Tom, and we'll do the presentation to him and let him have a few minutes of rebuttal, and then we'll do the same for Rita. So many of you have known Tom longer than I have, but for those of you who are not familiar with his background, I'll just fill you in on a few of the details. Tom was born in 1930 in Gloucester, Ohio. He flew planes for the Navy, which paid for his education at Ohio State, where he got a degree in aeronautic engineering. In 1953, he went to work for Rockwell International in contracts management, and later was part of the team that developed guidance systems for cluster bombs. When Tom saw video footage of the devastation that these systems had wrought in Vietnam, he had a crisis of conscience. In 1973, he had a daughter born with a heart defect, and a few years later, she needed an operation. And Tom says that he promised God at that time that if his daughter came through that successfully, he would quit Rockwell International and spend the rest of his life working for peace. And that's exactly what he did. Since then, he has traveled to Italy repeatedly to appeal to the Pope and the Curia for the Church to officially forbid the building, deployment, threat to use, or actual use of nuclear weapons and other weapons of mass destruction. He believes that the Church and religious leaders will be the only ones able to change the madness in nuclear weapons. So I'll let Tom tell you a little bit more about his work and his ministry for peace in a few minutes. But first, Tom, we want to do a couple presentations, so if you come up here, please. Stand up, please. Tom, would you do the honors here of presenting? Tom, for your tireless efforts and many sacrifices on behalf of peace since 1976, Pax Christi Metro DC Baltimore is proud to present you with its Peacemaker of the Year Award for 2010. Along with this certificate, we have two gifts to present. First of all, I need to explain to you about postcards. They've already alluded to this. An important part of Tom's ministry is sending postcards to church leaders advocating on behalf of his issue. So we thought to make it a little easier for him, we would print out 500 of them. And Tom, also on your behalf, we're making a contribution to Pax Christi USA in honor of your work. Certificate.
I don't have much left to say. He said it all. But the other thing is, I want to thank Bishop Walter Sullivan, an old friend of mine for 30 years. I want to thank Dave Robinson, and I want to thank about 20 peace activists in this room who are doing more than I am for peace now. And are you sure you got the right guy?
Yes, for sure.
I built nuclear weapons, for a long time, 23 years, and I built weapons that killed a lot of people. I haven't thought about it for a while. But anyway, getting back to the light side, when I went into engineering, I worked on a supersonic bomber for the Navy, a Vigilante A5C. And that bomber carried 5 nuclear weapons. And I never thought much of it. It was a job, I did the job, I just got married, whatever. But down this tunnel, between two J-79 jet engines, was a track. And that was my job, to try to make this track work. And one day they gave us 5 dummy nuclear weapons of 20 megaton apiece. And we put them in the track. Then I realized one flight, one airplane across Russia could destroy 5 cities and kill 50 million people, 5 million people. I didn't mean to do this, I'm sorry, and I apologize. But it's so preposterous. And we built 100 of them. And all through the 60s and 70s, every time we looked at an aircraft carrier, you saw these 2 huge vigilante aircraft sitting in front of the island, ready to go, with 5 nuclear warheads of 20 megaton each that could kill 5 million people. So I got off that program, and I went into management, and I became contract administrator of Air Force programs. We started out with T-28 trainer planes I flown in the Navy, and to get them ready for flight and all that, and we were doing it for the French to fight in Vietnam. It's called Indochina then, whatever. So after that, some Air Force, or really not Air Force, but Navy engineers came to me and said, we want to propose a smart bomb. We want to put this electro-optical, works like your television, on the front of a Mark 84 2,000-pound ball, put aerodynamic strakes on it, make a glide ball out of it, and if you're going Mach 1 at 35,000 feet, you would go 15 miles. You didn't have to worry about the SAMs, the surface air missiles. They had been trying to destroy the bridges between Vietnam and China. For 5 years they couldn't because of too much fortification. The B-52s would go over and drop the bombs through the bridges, and they blow up, and they run the bridges the next day. So anyway, they were crazy about it. They gave us millions right off. Boom. Build a smart bomb. And we did our best, and we went to Eglin Air Force Base. That's where ACTV headquarters moved to from Wright-Patterson. And so there we tested them. And then we tested them in Vietnam. And with 2 FJ4s, we wiped out all the bridges between Vietnam and China. You could actually see the bomb just go right at the bridge abutment until it ended and blew it all up. And at that point, it was so successful that they said, hey, we want you to put this smart bomb on an anti-personnel cluster bomb. I didn't know what it was at the time, but Honeywell built it. And so I said, well, okay, but the problem is I wanted to go up 30 meters over the center of the village exactly to shower it with 100 little bomblets to scatter all over the whole village and blow it up. So we made it on the Su-54, and we put it on the front of an anti-personnel bomb, and we took it to Vietnam. And in Vietnam, well, we went to Ubon, Thailand, and because from Ubon, Thailand, that's where we flew missions into Vietnam. So the colonel says, I want you to drop it on that suspect VC village there, and that suspect VC village there, and I want to see what it'll do. So we did it. The next day, or the day after, the Green Beret went in took pictures of us. And all I could see was bodies in color, in blood, of women, children, dogs, buffalo, anything within a quarter of a mile radius. I got sick in my stomach, and I went to the restroom. Then I went on alcohol.